Alright, hello YouTube, this is Oifriendlyfire. I'm here with Daimyo of US023, 600 vehicles, base building. How you doing, Daimyo?
Good, good. Good to be here.
Yeah? Hey, thanks for having us. We're just here to learn a little bit about the server, learn a little bit about you, and go from there. First, a couple of questions just knocked out right out of the way. I'm sure everybody's thinking it. Why'd you start a base or a server like this? You know, so many vehicles in the bases. What were you thinking?
Mainly, I've been playing DayZ probably when everyone else started playing, and um, thought it was a great game. The gaming community has been missing sort of a true zombie apocalypse, simulator. And I thought DayZ was great. You spend a lot of time building up your cargo space and your base, with tents or vehicles. But the thing is that when you logged off, you really couldn't defend that, and a smaller clan or group cannot defend that very well. And this integral part that Rocket talked about is building bases. So we
Sure.
wanted to implement that into the server, and when I found out you could do it customly, it's game on.
Well, there's a couple of other servers out there that are, kind of, I think they're building bases for people to come and populate. But the way you do things is a little different. You actually put the power into the player's hands. And I've played on the server for weeks now, about a month maybe, I'm not sure. And I can say that you've changed the way that DayZ is played now. Whereas before, and we touched on this with one of your admins actually, before you would run from barracks to barracks and hospital to hospital to get supplies that you would need, and you'd go out and you'd kill people. Now you've given another outlook on the game. Essentially, people are now running to industrial buildings, and the largest hotspots on the game, and where most of the people fight at are industrial spawns, and any place you can find a tank trap. And I think that just being able to do that, with the mod that you've created is something wonderful. I don't know. I don't know how everybody else feels about that, but that's pretty amazing to change the dynamic of a game. So there you go. There's that.
Yeah, definitely. When people come to our server and they're like 600 vehicles, the first thing they do is they question it, and then the second thing they do is complain about how there's not enough parts around. And really, what
Yeah.
that says to us is that they haven't really been looking in other servers. When you find a tire, are you ever going to carry a tire over food and ammo? Hell no.
Right.
But when you
Absolutely.
come into a server where there's actual vehicles, that makes a difference, and it does feel more scarce. And um, you know, these these new landmarks are more important, industrial areas and whatnot. And just like Rocket said, and when he made DayZ, other parts of the map, and whether going in the forest chopping wood, has had no meaning other than cover. Now we're bringing back that meaning to certain objects in the game and whatnot.
Right. Absolutely. We're actually standing in one of the bases that's built now. This is a test server. I've been allowed to come in here today to show off a little bit of how the build recipes work. Maybe even turn this into a small tutorial of sorts. But while we're doing that, we'll go over some other questions. You know, so I get why you started it, and it makes a lot of sense. I've heard talk of underground bases, everything, and I don't know how that would ever work. With even being able to find it again. Um, how does a guy, that just went from playing DayZ come into something like this and turn? I mean, you can see this vista here. These bases that are built here on this test server are awesome. How do you come about this? What's your background in this type of industry?
Well, I've always had a knack for programming and just SQF scripting, and I really enjoy it. And I'm sure anyone that plays Arma, any developer, like whether it's going through the editor or actual scripting, really finds enjoyment out of it. It's really been more of a hobby for me, and I've done some classes in C++, C Sharp, and whatnot. And SQF has similarities to that kind of coding. And so when I got into developing for the server, it was a really easy transition, and a lot of my scripts are pretty basic. They're kind of messy, some of them, but all I cared about was functionality and whether it worked or not, and worked on a full loaded server. So for the most part, there's still some tweaks and fixes and balances, but it came out pretty successful. As you can see, a lot of these bases, they're kind of messy, but people were testing the building. It came out looking pretty cool nonetheless.
They have.
Changing entire landscapes and whatnot.
They have. I ran into a guy who built a base with nothing more than a camo net and some connexes. And his base was amazing. You can't even get in and out of it unless you know the trick, which is pretty cool. I'm not going to say anything more because I don't want anybody raiding his base, but you know who I'm talking about.
Exactly, yeah.
Do you ever have any plans of changing? Well, I don't know. Do you have any plans of changing anything else big? I mean, are you adding anything else to the server that's gonna? What's the future of the server? I guess would be the question.
Well, we are in transition of changing boxes for the server, and the future of it, I would say, we'd probably expand, multiple servers, multiple instances, and we'd probably go to maybe try out Panthera in the future when all the bugs and stuff are fixed and whatnot. But as for development, what new features we'll be working on, the next ones would be booby traps, like outdoor landmines.
Oh, nice.
Maybe just
nice.
Traps around your base that you expect people to go at and blow up when they try to take something. And then also gates that are, we can open and close gates, like object gates, not just vehicle gates, but object gates that you can close and open with a panel of some sort. Maybe a generator might be required.
Oh,
cetera,
wow.
cetera.
That would actually be really great. I mean, I've seen some pretty neat bases, but that'd blow my mind in a game like this. All this is coming from Arma 2, if you can believe that. That's crazy. And Arma 2's in-game base editor is pretty intuitive. I can see, that a lot of this stuff is coming from different maps and different expansions, and it all comes together really well when you put it in a DayZ survival simulator. And that's important, I think. Like you said, with not being able to harbor your gear when you're gone. I've operated with your team and been in and out of your base multiple times, working with those guys, and it's really cool to see how they react to fire and how it just changes the whole gameplay whenever you have a place you can call home and a safe zone, essentially. And that's kind of nice to not always have to be looking over your shoulder. It's a scary world out there in DayZ, so
Yeah, exactly. And bases also provide. You see a lot of RP servers where they'll have safe zones, and maybe it's whether it's scripted safe zones or just like admin safe zones. The idea would be, and you've seen this with DayZ with the trade post. That one trading company,
yeah, sure,
RP kind of thing that was going on. I mean, they had all the community behind it, but they had no way of building a fortification, to defend that idea. And now you could do that, and you could regulate safe zones, and you could make an entire area a safe zone, but you just have to have the manpower and the fortification to build it and to man it.
Right.
But now it's possible.
Well, I don't think you'd ever have a problem finding manpower to put something together like that. I think, did you hear that, Trading Post guys? You need to get together with this guy. Some good ideas in the works, huh? What about, can we expect some kind of release to the public on something like this? I know a lot of people put together servers and oftentimes release that code. I mean, is this something that we can expect to see more of from other people doing, or do you think they'll just follow suit and try it themselves?
Yeah, of course. I definitely plan on releasing it publicly when it's. I definitely want to polish it more. There's still tweaking and bug fixes.
Sure.
And, the exclusiveness of having on the server is big as well. But we want to eventually release it to the public and get it out there because this is what DayZ needs. It's what it's been needing for a while. And I know other people are developing certain other ways of doing it. Might be a different way of doing it, but the way that I wanted to do it was, a more practical approach where, you could use the already, you don't have to modify the already modified game. You could just build off the Rockets code and just make it work in a very simple manner and, not make people download another mod of a mod.
Right.
That's kind of frustrating for some.
Right. And you don't need anything else to play on the server. You just log on, US023, that's it, and you're in. You know, I want to see how this thing works.
Yeah.
I want to
Yep.
see how to build something. You know, I think we've gone over some pretty good stuff, and I'm ready to put up a base. I've been trying to figure it out.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's go ahead and run to the least messy part of the map right here.
Oh, okay. Right here.
So well, let's get some buildables first. We got to go to that Euro.
Okay.
So the way it works is you got to think Minecraft recipe list. You know,
Sure.
especially if you play the Xbox version.
Yeah.
And you're building like a hand axe or a pickaxe or whatever, or sword, and it shows you what you need to build it. And that's the same idea here. And we can start off with something. Let's start with something big. Let's go with a big wall. It's let's give everyone just grab one buildable and we'll.
Okay. Alright, I'll watch you build one real quick.
So once you grab a buildable, I'm just gonna show the buildable list or build recipes list.
Alright, so we've got the build recipes.
Do you have a buildable in your
Yep,
inventory?
yep. We're gonna go ahead and scroll up to build recipes. Okay. And there's your list. Yeah.
Okay, and you can.
Okay, so there you see at the top there, sand is S, tank is T, wire W, wood L, scrap M, and you look in the recipe list here, and you'll need 3 sand, 3 tank traps, 2 wires, and two woods in order to make a warfare depot. Which what does that model look like here? Which one is that?
Warfare B depot.
It's one of these guys, isn't it?
It's the one to your right over here. It's the big mother headquarters.
Okay, gotcha. Well, that's pretty slick. That's pretty slick. I've actually gotten the recipe to build a HESCO barrier, a big retaining wall, much like that one right there. So you want to walk me through how to put that bad boy on the ground?
Okay. Yeah, sure. Just come over to me. Right now, the objects haven't been tweaked, so you could kill a companion with it. And eventually, what we want to do is put a preview, like a wireframe preview, instead of an actual object of the thing. But right now, all you gotta do is open your gear.
Okay. Now.
And any buildable in there.
Oh no.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, just it's not pretty. You gotta right-click on a buildable like you would in the regular game. Anyone will do, and then you just say build, and
oops.
It'll show you a quick preview, and then then it'll start building.
Oh, I think I might have an extra sandbag. Let's see here.
For the big one, it's 1 sandbag, 4 tank traps, 2 wire, and 2 wood.
Oh, I've got an extra. Okay, so basically all you got to do is have the exact amount, what's saying right there, of the thing you need to build. And each recipe is different. So we'll try that there. We'll right-click it, build tank trap kit. What?
So do you have one sandbag, 4 tank traps, 2 wire?
I lost the tank trap. Oh, do you got
I got one.
Okay, I'll grab that.
Yeah, put it on the ground.
Alright, there we go. Okay.
I'll go grab an extra one.
Alright, so 1 sandbag, 1 wire wheel, 4 tank traps, build tank trap kit. Looks like we need
2 wire wheel.
Oh.
Yeah, it takes some learning. You'll get used to it once you get all the recipes, the important ones. Here's another wire.
Okay. Alright.
Now I had it coded where it would actually build the next thing down, but there's a lot of complications with that, and with changing, we're adding objects and removing. I didn't want to make it too complicated, and it just add way too many bugs. So.
Okay, so what am I building now? I'm building a large HESCO barrier, right?
You're building
This is a land H barrier large, so 1 sandbag, 2 tank traps, and 1 wire wheel.
Oh, yeah, that should be
1 sandbag.
amount. Yeah. I'm sorry, I thought you were building the 10 times
Oh
one.
no, wasn't that big. 1 sandbag, 2 tank traps, and 1 wire wheel. Okay, there we go. There we go.
should build.
Oh, look at that. There it is.
There you go.
Now, if I move away from this
Let it
position,
build.
it
Don't
won't
move.
build this item. I've learned that.
Yeah, and you have a lot of opportunity to move and cancel it. You know, say you're not satisfied or someone's spotting for you.
Right.
But it's usually a 3D build. Depending on how big the object is, it'll take longer
Right.
to build.
So right now we got a pretty big object, so it's going to build it a couple of times. And there we go. We just built our first Tesco barrier. That's a big one.
Yep, and this one's more of a shorter but taller wall. I could show you that the best wall to build in the game for a base would be this 10 times tall one, which I'm
Okay.
about to build.
Let's see that.
Just stand behind me. I will show
There we
you.
go. Alright, so we've seen the preview there.
This one's gonna be a little sideways. Since,
Obviously a little better at building this than I am.
yeah, since it's yeah, just the recipes you gotta get used to. But it does contour to the landscape automatically, and when the server does restart, it will do that again. Whereas it didn't do that before. It's a server-side thing that you have to edit. But it's definitely nice because before, when you built on a slope or something, it would basically be retarded on the server up, and so we had to address that too. So now it contours to the ground.
Look at that.
Beautifully.
It's got a little build up here. It looks like it's used a little bit of the ground there and built itself up where it was a little too high. Ah, that looks real good. Look at that.
Yep, and it adjusts to landscape, so any rough terrain you could build on, but just make sure you consider how rough the terrain is, else your base might have.
And from what I understand, to take something down, you need a toolbox. Is that right?
Yep, and so we added a custom removal in. Basically, people are going to spend hours building these bases. You don't want them days building these sometimes, because to gather the resources, it's going to be kind of really tough. So anything with a sandbag that requires, you're going to need to remove it, you're going to need an entrenching tool, and anything in general, you're going to need a toolbox. And the way the probability works based on the object is a 50% fail rate and a 50% chance to lose your toolbox on smaller objects, and then it goes to 70% and then to 90%.
Oh.
So this wall behind you, 90% fail rate and 90% chance to lose.
So you can't just walk right up with one toolbox, unless you have a backpack of toolboxes. You're not really going to take down somebody's base. So that's good to hear, because I'm sure that a base like this, of this caliber here, probably took a long time.
Exactly. If you want to try to remove this, you can see the removal function. If you actually do remove it, that is...
We'll give it a shot.
A big accomplishment.
You can see here where it says 70 seconds left here. It still gives me the option to cancel in case I mess up. It's going to run through the animation of fixing an object or taking apart an object several times. Looks like 6 more times. And you have the probability of losing your toolbox so that you can't go on to the next object and remove it as well. So all you potential base builders out there, it might behoove you to build a double-decker wall. Yeah? Just a thought.
Exactly. The probability of losing your toolbox and failing are different. So if you fail, you won't necessarily lose your toolbox, but 90% fail rate, you're pretty much going to lose your toolbox most likely on these bigger ones, because this one's the hardest wall to build.
We'll see if we can do it.
Yeah, you'll be the luckiest. I haven't been able to do it yet.
Okay. And keep in mind, again, this is a test server, so don't come over here planning on jumping in one of these bases. This would be sweet to fall into something like this, though. Maybe an abandoned base. That'd be great, actually. I might look for one. We've had it.
Yeah, along with our
oh no, that's fine.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I failed to remove the base. Look at that. Base warfare barrier. Look at that. So, did I lose my toolbox? I did. So that's really cool that you put that into play. Just to make it harder for people to infiltrate the bases. I did notice something on your message of the day on the server where, don't intentionally block objects, and so you're not really going to have to worry people about, not being able to have access to a hospital or the barracks because some jerk, put sandbags in front of it for everybody to not be able to use. I think that you've alleviated that problem as best you could.
Exactly, and you know, anything that you build, it does keep your ID on it. So if you are maybe building excessive amounts that, you know, that seem like you're duping objects or whatever, you know, that will be looked at as well in terms of server
Okay.
admins. Also, you know, though we do have a lot of anti-dupe scripts, some of them are from the community Tungle. I'm going to name drop here. It's Ash4, who's put a lot of influence in the fixing of many bugs and whatnot. But, you know, we also have our own anti-dupe scripts, and, you know, anything you could think of duping in maybe a Chernara server or a public server, per se, like, you won't be able to do here most of the time, and we're always working on it
It
constantly.
has become a problem.
So that's a
It
big
has
part of
become
the
a
game
problem.
too. Yeah, because if you know one player is doing it, everyone has to do it in order to compete. We want to, you know, go back to the roots where we
Right.
pull and plays fair, you know. And so we work on the fixes
Right.
just as much as the
And even
people.
on your server, I've made several runs to pick people up that were at one time, you know, heavily armed and defending a base and were attacked and lost their base. And you know, you're not invincible because you're behind a base at all. There's always, you know,
Yeah.
what do they say? For every second it takes you to think of how to keep people out, somebody's already 10 seconds ahead of you and probably already in your house on a burglary thing. So keep that in mind when you're building your bases. And I don't know, you know what? This is just awesome. I'm in awe. I'm looking around at the stuff you guys have built here in this test server, and I'm thinking, I'm getting sidetracked because I'm thinking of how I want to go and build a base now. So, you know,
Yeah, exactly. And these little ramp things, you know, people might be thinking, how do I look over the wall? Well, these
oh
little
yeah,
ramp things, and there's ramparts and stuff. You could put these in place, and much easier to defend a wall versus just looking
let's see what
over
we
the
got here.
person. And little additions like that. We thought of everything really, but there's always
So
more
here's the
to add in.
question: do you still have your PDW? You ever play paintball?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
So we're gonna
All right.
do a
Here you
one-on-one
go
here.
for the viewers at home. Yeah, ready, set, go.
All right.
Here we go. This will be the wrap
All
up
right.
of the server. Oh, you're gonna.
I cheat a bit, and by cheating, I mean
Ah!
throw a grenade. Better start running.
Oh no! Ah! Bad time to reload. Thought I had him on the run. Hey everybody, thanks for
I
watching.
didn't even see
Pleasure
it.
having you, Daimyo, and hopefully we'll get back together again soon. We'll try that paintball thing again, right?
All right. Yeah, it was my pleasure. Thanks
All right,
for
have a good one.
doing this all.